President Reagan has vetoed major legislation designed to redress America's failing competitiveness with its foreign trading partners. And the bill, which was 3 years in the making, was vetoed on a non-trade issue. But as Maxine McHugh reports, it's what comes next that could concern Australia. Britain's Margaret Thatcher has revealed that she hasn't drawn nearly $250,000 of her prime ministerial salary since 1979. Mrs Thatcher was stung by a reference in Parliament comparing her to Pontius Pilate by washing her hands of the poor. The exchange highlights a new debate in Britain over the moral direction of Thatcherism, as Neil Ross reports. The ABC is to shed almost 1,000 jobs over the next 5 years as part of a major restructuring plan. Savings of $100 million will be directed towards boosting Australian content, purchasing more programs from independent producers, improving regional services and modernising equipment. ABC Chairman Bob Somervale says the plan should allow the national broadcaster to expand its activities without extra government funding. A lucky escape this afternoon for 4 car passengers and a semi-trailer driver involved in a multi-vehicle collision on the F5 freeway southwest of Sydney. Sydney Police said a semi-trailer clipped a car and a truck which were slowing down at the scene of an accident earlier in the day. The semi ran up an embankment and overturned. As the cabin burst into flames, the driver managed to scramble to safety. Firemen from Campbelltown raced to the scene, about 2 kilometres south of the Camden exit, to battle the blaze. The trailer crashed into a red sedan, but the 3 people in it escaped virtually unscathed. Another car was caught under the rear of the trailer. The truck clipped by the semi-trailer also went up onto the freeway embankment, spilling part of its load of piping onto the busy freeway. The guilty verdict against Breaker Morant has been reversed in South Australia 86 years after his court-martial in South Africa. An unofficial retrial last night in the town of Burra found the now legendary Boer War soldier not guilty of war crimes. Now, time for the day's news in sport, and here's Clinton Fletcher.
Thank you, Richard. Hi, everyone. The wing mast looks set to replace the wing keel as the latest America's Cup secret weapon. The San Diego Yacht Club today unveiled its Cup defender, a radical catamaran, already being challenged in court by the New Zealand syndicate. Now, from San Diego, Martin DeBell reports. After overcoming his first-round jinx, Pat Cash is on course to meet Boris Becker in the quarterfinals of the French Open. Cash had a straight sets win over American Jimmy Brown, while Becker too put his indifferent clay court form behind him to down Claudio Mazzadri of Switzerland. In other games today, Henry LeConte called on all his resources to defeat Tasmania's Simon Newell, while the #1 seed Ivan Lendl powered his way into the second round. That's all in sport for tonight. See you tomorrow, Richard.
Let's see what the weather has in store from Mike Bailey.
Good evening. I don't know about in store, but it's certainly been a wild 24 hours past, especially along the coast. The old story, a Tasman Sea low-pressure cell forming, and that's not a good time to be on the water. Many Manly ferry commuters found that out in Sydney Harbour this morning, with the swell whipping them up to about 4 metres through the heads. The ferries are really being buffeted about. It wasn't the day to be on the water unless you really had to be there, which makes you wonder about some of these small craft. It's certainly a wild old ride for them and for the Manly ferry commuters right across the harbour. Through the day, the winds died away. Temperatures made their way up to around 19 in the city. That's close to the average, but quite cool in some parts of the west, with rain quite heavy overnight too. 28 millimetres for the city, 41 at Westmead.